Clock, we'll get started. If you could all stand and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So let's take attendance.
So noted.
All right. So as a brief introduction, the Zoning Board of Appeals is a 7-member quasi-judicial body appointed by the Bloomfield Township Board of Trustees per the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act. Matters pending before the Zoning Board of Appeals are decided on a case-by-case basis. Any appeal of a decision made by the Zoning Board of Appeals is subject to circuit court review. Each case will be called separately in the order shown on tonight's agenda. There will be an opportunity for public comment at one point during each case. All persons wishing to comment will be asked to provide their name and address at the podium. Address your comments to the board and not the applicant or other members of the public. Given the number of appeals tonight, please make your comments brief. Comments by the Neighborhood Association will be considered as part of the factual information presented to the board, but those comments are not the determining factor for approval or denial. Please confine comments to the specific request before the board. For a request to be successful, an affirmative vote of at least 4 members present is required. We hope this helps you provide a better understanding of what you can expect at tonight's meeting. All right, so I'll need a motion or comments on the minutes of our meeting on January 9th, 2024.
To approve.
Support. We have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. So we'll call the first item, item 1P, 5560 Lane Lake Road. Is the applicant here? Okay, come on up and give us your name and address.
My name is Brian Brodsky. I'm here on behalf of the owner of New Shoes Investments, LLC, 5560 Lane Lake Road. Do I just present my...
Go right ahead. Yep, just tell us what you need.
Yeah, so we're seeking approval for an existing sports court that's located on the parcel. I think the sports court itself meets all of the requirements for approval, except that there is currently no primary structure on the parcel. So the plan is to build a house there at some point in the future, but it's not ready to go yet, and so they would like to use it as a sports court for now.
Okay. Do you have any questions from the board? I'll open this up to the public. Does anyone here like to comment on this item? I'll close the public hearing then, bring it back to the board for a motion or discussion.
Well, I'll make a motion. In regards to the appeal at 5560 Lake Road for an existing accessory structure of a sports court without a principal structure, I move that the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance will be unduly burdensome because basically they're utilizing their lot and they'd like to be able to use that. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors because it meets all of the zoning requirements. The unique circumstances of the property right now, they do own it, although there's no primary structure on that. They want to be able to use that sports court, which is a accessory structure that a lot of people in our township are now using. And this is not self-created. So with that, if approved, the motion also includes application for all necessary permits must be made within 5 business days for the existing sports court and fence. Additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the sports court and fence from public view. Use of the sports courts is limited to daytime hours, and there's no illumination is permitted on the sport court, and approval may be granted for only 1 year.
Support. All right, so I have motion and support. Why don't we just have some discussion? So what are we saying about the screening? Because I've looked
Yeah,
at
it needs to be screened, but also I'm just curious, why is it just a 1 year permission?
The suggestion is 1 year, in as much as there's not a pending building permit. We don't know the time
Oh, I
frame
see.
for when a primary residence may
Be on there.
be on there. So if it's just for 1 year, at least the applicant can come back and give us a better time frame. So maybe they're going to be building shortly, or maybe they need another year.
Yeah, and I would say it should be, in the motion we said may be required. I would say must be required to be screened 12 months out of the year, because it looks like there's a lot of spots where it can be viewed. So typically we don't want public to be able to see it. So that's not the case now.
Is there some sort of landscape plan, or is that not necessary?
There was not a landscape plan submitted. They were looking to utilize what is existing. So that'll actually require, obviously, additional landscaping.
There might be a couple more pictures. So that's like from the side view of the house, but yeah, so that's the view from the actual street.
How did the sports court just appear there? Was there a house there at one time?
There was a house there at one time.
and they're using it for pickleball?
Pickleball.
Pickleball, yep. And what's the size of the net?
The net?
Around it there?
So
The full court is a net around there. I don't believe there's just around the back. I think there's I don't know if it's a fence, but it's a removable fence.
Right, yeah, because I think catches the ball.
Yeah.
I've seen them, they catch the ball. And,
Yeah.
So it's not like some of the basketball courts we
It's
see.
like waist high, but it just
it's
is.
like a 10-foot net,
Yeah.
so that would, but it would make the screening easier because it's not as high as a basketball court.
May I ask, is there a time frame for putting any screening in? Or does that?
I doubt at this time there is not.
That would be a determination by the board. By giving an approval, it could be, you could request that it be screened, in spring, or by June 1st. Or if you wanted to give a little more additional time, you could say by September 1st, depending on your time frame. I just offer that.
I think it would be good to add a time in there. I mean, obviously they cannot plant them now. We know
Correct.
that.
Right.
But maybe if we say June or
And it's only for a year, that's the other thing.
Right,
So
that's-
we'd see this
so
again in a year.
That's
so
why I was,
that's the other.
okay,
that's,
they'll be
that,
back in February. Yeah.
And the thing, it'll change the screening once the house goes up because then you might not see as much. So
Okay.
yeah, so there's
we're
a lot.
balancing a lot of things here. Balancing.
But for now, I think it should still be screened as early as possible because we did get complaints from neighbors, which is my understanding is how it came to us in the first place. So
Right.
so maybe we even say by spring they should. In spring you can plant in May.
June 1.
June 1. Okay, so
June
we
1.
already have the motion. Maybe we just amend it, add June 1.
Yeah.
And
It's got to be screened from public view June 1 would be the suggestion.
yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, because I think that makes it clear. It isn't really. Okay.
So I'll amend the motion to add that the evergreen plantings will be required to screen it from public view and must be installed by June 1st.
So we have an amended motion, amended support. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Calling item 1, 480 North Glenhurst. You look familiar. You look very familiar.
Good evening, my fellow board members. I'm here tonight with Glenda Meads Architects, architect for a project at Glenhurst. Mr. and Mrs. Spangler that are here are doing addition to their house and renovations and expanding their garage and mudroom. The difficulty on this property is it has 2 frontages. It fronts also on Pine. And to accomplish this, the garage and the mudroom are set back from where an existing garage already is on the house. You can see the yellow areas. It's set back They're also adding a front porch for covering. It's a flat house with an open porch that ices for safety. We want a front canopy. It meets all the village setbacks, but the township setbacks, it's too close to the street by the township setbacks. All the village houses are much closer to the street than your township ordinances. The village has approved all of this. Actually, I should say they approved this 2 years ago. We already have an appeal for these exact requests from 2 years ago. The project kind of sat on hold, and they're ready to go now. So the village reapproved, and the design of the garage was actually a reflection of some things they wanted design-wise. The other thing that I think is noted on there, the village did want a low metal fence along Pine to be replaced with landscaping, which is noticed on the plans.
And we started out, it was non-conforming from the start.
Yes, it's non-conforming on both frontages. Yeah, I think the site plan shows even the front of the house, let alone the porch, is 30 feet. Is good 10 feet too close for your township requirements, but the village all has these kinds of setbacks.
Okay, any other questions from the board? I'll open up to this public. Anyone in the public would like to comment on this item? Close public hearing, bring back for discussion or a motion. Okay.
With regard to the appeal at 480 North Glenhurst for the dimensional variance request for setbacks variance, I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the fact that the lot has two frontages. Further, there's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the fact that it's consistent with homes in the other area. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated once again because of the multiple frontages, and it is not self-created due to the fact that home is already in existence, and frankly, it's quite common for this sort of thing to happen within that area of Bloomfield Township. So, if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year and all permits to be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Calling the next item, item 2, 600 Covington.
Good evening. My name is Joe Roman. I'm the architect for Ed and Norma Meyer, who live at 600 Covington. They couldn't be here this evening. They asked me to be here on their behalf. Simple project. We're basically just taking an existing non-conforming front porch, and we're going to rebuild it with a different vocabulary, style of architecture, and then the rest of it's just a renovation of the facade. We're going to lime wash, paint the brick. And we're going to remove the, I think it's aluminum siding on there now, and put in an LP Smart Sided smooth material lap board siding and new shutters, cupola, and a new window over the front porch.
Okay, any questions from the board? Open this up to the public for comment. Anyone wish to speak? Close public comment, bring it back for a motion.
So it's not encroaching any more than it already is, right?
No. The foundation's staying the same, just redoing the columns and the roof structure.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
With regard to the appeal at 600 Covington Road for the technically setback variance, I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the size of the lot. There's no injustice to adjoining neighbors by reason that this is consistent with other homes in the area. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given that the existing floor plan is as it is, and all they're doing is expanding their front porch just a bit and redoing the facade. This is obviously not self-created due to the fact that the home is already in existence. So if approved, the motion must include all application for necessary permits to be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
So I have a motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
So calling the next item, item 3, 218 Dordan.
Good evening. My name is Jovian Kizzy. I'm here on behalf of my client, Eddie Barish. I'm building his home on 218 Dordan, and we're seeking approval for illuminated piers at the entrance of his driveway, at each entrance.
Any questions from the board?
How tall are they?
They are 48 inches,
So 4 feet.
4 feet.
Is there an HOA in this?
There is, and I have an approval letter.
Oh, you do? Okay,
Yes.
Could you explain the lighting a little bit?
Oh, sorry. So the lighting will be LED lighting underneath the cap of the top of the pillar as to illuminate down in order to provide guidance at the end of the driveway for anybody entering or exiting the driveway.
On your pictorial there, it looks like there's something on top. What is that?
So that's actually temporary to the structure. That's not something that's permanent or, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but let me make myself clear. See the drawn in pillars on the picture there. Is that a light on top? Or
No,
Looks
no,
like
just
it's
a
a planter.
planter. Yeah.
Great. That's what I
So,
thought.
so
Yeah.
Thank you.
it looks, well, it's the picture to the right that's the actual.
Exactly. That's yeah.
Okay.
And let me ask us again, looking at that drawing, is the pillar itself, the pier itself 3 feet, and then if you put a planter on, and it's an additional feet, or is the whole?
No, the entire pillar is 3
Okay.
feet.
I was just
Actually,
looking at the,
that drawing was not supposed to be in there.
okay.
I had updated it with
It's certainly drawn a
everything-
lot of questions,
Yeah, it
which
is.
you like to avoid.
Yes, right. Let's focus our attention to everything on the right side of the page because
Oh, okay, well,
that's what, yeah.
Okay.
So were you the one that drew that? Who was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I'm glad you owed on to it. So it's okay. Any other questions?
Is it 3 feet or 4 feet?
It's
4 feet.
you said 4 feet.
Any other questions? Open this to the public. Anyone like to comment? Close public hearing and bring it back.
I'll make a motion. Okay, so for the, I'll start with the permission request at 218 Dordan. I'm going to move that the accessory structure, the illuminated piers be approved as submitted based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards. Because the accessory structure shall be harmonious to the neighborhood, given the fact that this is common. This is a common thing that we see in these homes there, and there is also homeowner association approval. With regard to the dimensional variance, I'm going to move that also be approved as requested for the accessory structure located in the front yard. The applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty because the compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the, where this is in the township and the fact that it being very residential, this is a very dark area. And so they need to have illumination for security and safety reasons. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbor by reason of the fact that, as mentioned before, this is a common accessory structure that we see in these homes at the end of the driveway. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated, again, given its location in the township and the fact that it is very dark and not illuminated on the street there. And this is not self-created due to the reasons stated above. All necessary permits should be made within 1 year and obtained prior to construction.
Support.
So I have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you very much.
Calling next item, item 4, 1119 Forest Lane.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Sabrina with Mosier Design. I'm here on behalf of the owner of 1119 Forest Lane. We are seeking approval for a cabana as well as equipment kind of along that rear yard. Both of these are in the required rear yard setback. The cabana does comply with the height ordinance. And we do have in our plans that it will be fully screened from any neighbors.
Okay, you're also looking for pool equipment?
Yes, that will also be screened along with the pool cabana.
And why does it have to be located where you're proposing the pool equipment?
It has an existing fence that they currently have that kind of screens it, and it's kind of tucked away in the corner to allow for kind of proper screening from everything. If it were located anywhere else, it would kind of be open to be kind of more seen by neighbors or by the road.
Any other questions? Open this to the public for comment. Anyone like to comment? Close public hearing, bring it back. Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll start with the permission request first. In regards to the appeal at 1119 Forest Lane for the proposed pool cabana for the accessory structure, I move that the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with Section 42-7.6 standards because the use of such an accessory structure is appropriate to the neighborhood, as pool cabanas are very, very common in our township. In reference to the dimensional variance, I also move that that be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty. For the pool equipment, compliance with strict letter of the ordinance will be unduly burdensome because in order to put it in any other location, it will actually probably be much more visible and more difficult to screen. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors because the pool equipment will be tucked away and out of public view. Unique circumstances of the property, again, because of the way the lot is situated and where the pool cabana will be. This is probably the most appropriate place for the pool equipment, and because of that, it is not self-created. With that said, if approved, the motion must include applications for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. Additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the cabana from public view, which was already mentioned. Must meet or exceed the height of the cabana at the time of planting. And additional evergreen plantings shall be required to screen the pool equipment from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the pool equipment as well at the time of planting.
Support.
Motion, support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
Calling next item, item 5, 1299 Porter's Lane.
Good evening. My name is Jason Bryan from JCB Design and Build, 325 North Avenue, Mount Clemens, here on behalf of the Modells at 1299 Porter's Lane. We have a little laundry list of things we're asking for permission for, and I'll go in order of the request. So number 1 is the pool patio deck encroaching into the side yard. This originally was approved on the site plan as a concrete surface. Based on the aesthetics of the home and how the landscape was coming together, we decided to go with an AZEK deck board. Just changed basically the material itself. The installation practice is the same. We actually put a sub slab below grade and then adhered the boards to that using stringers and such. So it's still a ground level patio. Elevations didn't change. The only thing that changed was material. And since it's a quote unquote decking material, even though it's being used as a patio surface, it just changed in the ordinance description itself. So that's why we're asking for that, but it does meet the setback requirements as approved on the original site plan. And number 2, I'm gonna own this one. So we didn't get it surveyed. We measured from the lake itself and came to where the environmental setback line is. We're encroaching on that, I think 1.5 feet, almost 2 feet. It's a natural product. It's a large flagstone, just like you would find any lakes or anything like that around here. the biggest quarries are right across in Canada that you get that stone from, all mined by lake surfaces. The number 3, resurfacing the existing dock. So there's an existing dock. Can I have the pointer, please? Am I missing it?
It's in that little pouch. You unzip that? That one it should be. Oh, there it is. It's not in a pouch.
This is
That's over. Yep. Use the red arrow.
Thank you. Okay, so down here in this area itself, this is the dock in question. This was existing. There was another piece that ran along the property this direction and back down, and then another piece that ran straight out into the lake. All of that portion was far past repair. So we had been talking about different ideas of resurfacing this and so on and so forth, and what was going to be removed and whatnot. There were some carpenters working on the property that gave the homeowner a deal that he couldn't refuse just to resurface that. No structural stuff was done. The rest of the decrepit dock was removed, so it wasn't an eyesore. Literally the only thing done to this was just the resurfacing, so it made it safe to walk on. But it was an already existing structure. Footprint didn't change, location, nothing moved as far as that goes.
So what piece is that on what you're requesting? Is that the?
Is that number 2 or 3?
That's number 3.
Could you point out number 1, please?
Number 1, sorry, I wrote this down in reverse order. Okay, so pool deck patio's up here. So we're actually inside of the setback. This was the original footprint that was approved on the original site plan. The problem is the material changed the wording in the ordinance. Still a grade level patio. It's just you're walking on a composite deck opposed to composite decking material opposed to concrete. The second was the fire pit patio right here. The existing lake conditions are actually out a little bit further. So when we measured to the property edge, we actually were inside of what we thought was the ESA. Granted, most of you here have saw me. I should have had the surveyor come and stake this. I know that this was the wrong way of operating. Unfortunately, sometimes you're just flying 100 miles an hour. The guys measure from the lake because you're tired of waiting on the surveyor, and we fell short on that. So that's I'm asking you guys to be nice to me. One. The other ones are have adequate reasons. So then number 3, that was resurfacing the dock down here. Number 4, so we're asking for permission to put a pergola right here. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide or so. Okay, so, no, back one. Okay, so, yeah. So this right here is the pergola. It meets the setback requirements, meets the height requirements. It's going to be a really great addition to the architecture of the home. On the property line, if you would just bump back, please. Yeah. So down this property line, we already planted 10-foot tall arborvitae on top of a 22-inch wall that's just in front of it. So you're getting almost 12 foot of coverage, which is instantly going to cover the top of this. The way the heights are, the neighboring property actually sits much lower, and there's no way they can see up that hill into it. So it's not affecting any neighbors that way. This, we have some trees kind of on this corner that's blocking any view from the street. And then the lake view, it's actually really hard to see it just because of the elevation change, which the elevation, well, we're going to get to the elevation change in a minute. So the next request, number 5, and sorry, my voice is messed up. I was sick and then had too much fun with the lions and whatnot. So my voice is just gone for, I don't know, indefinitely currently, but I'm trying to tough through it. So I appreciate you bearing with me. Anyways, number 5, if you'd flip back to the next one again. Well, I'm sorry, forward. Yeah. So this is a horizontal slat fence. There's some mini splits on this house with the way the architecture of the home was to be able to adequately heat and air condition this side of the house. They went with some mini splits. They actually sit up higher on the home itself. So we need something taller to be able to hide that. They also push out hot air. So if we planted anything there, it would just kill it in the winter months due to the needles overheating. So that's why we're asking to build this 6-foot tall slat fence. That's also going to be hidden. If you'd go back to the site plan, please. We're talking about this area right here. Those arborvitae continue down. So this is all still hidden from that neighbor on the side as well. And then down in this region right here, we have a couple boulders that are encroaching to the ESA setback, the environmental setback. They're boulders they're Michigan boulders. They're mined in Michigan. If you walk to the lakeside.
But they weren't there, right? I mean, you put them there.
Yeah, we put them there due to the fact that the grade is sloping so hard that if you didn't put some boulders there, it probably would have ended up eroding. I want to point out that we also planted over 300 native species of juniper on this shoreline, all right to the water's edge, abiding by EGO's new requirements to not have a seawall. So we created that out of vegetation and even went up into the yard to give it a very natural setting. I think we have some pictures of the house from that angle. I'm sorry?
Do you have pictures of that?
I think we do. Unfortunately, I'm kind of stepping in for the architect on this one, so I wasn't privy to all the pictures that we had posted, but keep going, please. Actually, if you back up, I'll just explain what all this is. Okay, so that's the front of this is the side that we're talking about. Being able to hide those mini splits. See how they're a little bit higher here. Any vegetation planted closely to them would die. This is the corner of the deck that's in reference. Still the same elevations as originally permitted. This is just a different angle view of the deck. If you'd please go forward. This is a front view of the home. And then over here you have a side view of the where the mini splits are in the fence that we're requesting.
Why does your patio encroach 3 feet?
Which patio are you talking about though?
The cut stone patio located in the rear yard.
Okay, so go forward, please. Forward one more time. So this is the one that we're talking about now. We measured from the water's edge and went 26 feet. Unfortunately, that's not exactly where the survey is putting it. And
so it's 3 feet, not 1.5 feet, like you were saying before.
Yes, I had misspoke. That wasn't to misdirect you. I apologize.
Okay, so we haven't opened it up for public comment, but I'll just tell you, me personally, I have problems with encroachments into the natural feature setback.
Okay.
So with regard to that 3 feet for that patio, and I understand you didn't survey it, but I mean, we have the ordinance for a reason, and the stone and the boulders I'm also opposed to, so I'll just put that out there.
Okay. Can we go forward even a little bit more? Maybe I can get some other pictures of what she's talking about. So these are the boulders that are in question. I can certainly remove these boulders, but to say it in the most direct way possible, this soil is going to end up in the lake. So all we're trying to do is help retain the earth there. Otherwise, we are going to have an erosion issue down the road. And that's why we did all these natives. These are all native species all through here and what would be behind me if I was taking this picture. And then you can see from this side, this is going far up past the environmental setback is all native species of plants. If you go one more, please.
Who is in charge of this project?
Well, I was the landscape contractor on it, and then there was a landscape architect on it as well.
And you're familiar with, our requirements and the natural features setback, correct?
Very, very much so.
So when you sit here, there's a lot of people that come and ask for things after the fact. It just seems like I'm seeing a pattern from the Mosher group here. So that's not a good word to be entering my head when you're coming in front of us. So was this careless? Was it sloppy, or was it arrogant? You got to pick one of the three.
Can I pick different ones for each one?
Okay, because it seems like some of it was sloppy, some was careless, and some might even be arrogant, like, hey, we're just going to do it and come in and ask after the fact, because that just looks like, to me.
So that was never the intent. The patio encroachment, honestly, that was an oversight that just changing the material would change that.
Right. So the guy's out there, he doesn't know, or
yeah,
he just thinks he's okay.
The fire pit patio, that was careless. That was just measuring from the water's edge. I know that's not always accurate. That's why I'm owning that. I started that request with them.
You said that. That was on you. You owned up to it. It's good.
And then the boulder situation, though, that really is necessary. I mean, I have no problem taking them out, but it's just going to cause an issue down the road.
You're saying that's even though it's after the fact, there's a legitimate purpose there, and you realize, right.
And we didn't intend that from the start. It wasn't on the original drawing. That wasn't the aesthetic intent even of it, but it's what just was needed to be able to retain the earth there.
Okay.
So,
do we have any other questions from the board?
Should we open it up for the?
No, I mean, just.
Oh, no, I have no more questions.
Okay. So anyone in the public like to comment on this? You can state your name and address. Yeah, you go right to the microphone and state your name and address.
My name is Dick Rapley, 307 Porter's Lane. I'm not an architect. I'm not a nearby neighbor. He spoke to make my case very well. I was just appalled when I got this notice. We had 6 existing things. I wish the people that lived on either side were here and everything else. I watched from a distance and what they did to the road and everything else along the way. And I know the people on either side are having drainage problems now because of what was done. So my concern, and I'm only raising this, is that we have these codes for a reason, and they're for the benefit of all the residents. And they were just, 6, I don't know what to say. I'm flabbergasted, and I'm just concerned that the codes are maintained for the benefit, and that we don't just, as you say, you leave it to the last minute and waive things and make these codes meaningless and of no value. So that's my concern. It's not the specific issues, it's the situation that they have created. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from the public? All right, I'll close public hearing. I don't know if you want to respond to that, but.
Yeah, so we're only asking for 3 existings, and then there's 3 future permission requests.
Well, there's 4 existing.
There's 3 existing.
Hold on, the public comments closed.
Oh, I guess maybe they have it in there twice.
So we have existing.
You're right, there's 4 existings. I apologize.
That's what our notes say here.
Okay.
Stone cut patio, composite board deck, maybe you don't really think of that as a.
Yeah, that's the one I was kind of on the fence about. As to the neighbor situation, the neighbor to the east of this property, I know has a very good relationship with the homeowner. The neighbor to the west of this property, I did his house 6 years ago. He still has my company come back every year and do more work. I've never heard of any drainage issues, and I would certainly know if there was any drainage issues. We did more work there this year, and I've literally done more work there every year since we initially did the full house, same caliper, home as this, full brick paver driveway, walkout patios, X, Y, and Z. I have a very good relationship with them. I know they would write a letter in support of everything that we're asking for. So if the board was on the fence about that situation, I would ask that we table it till the next meeting, and I could get those support letters, no problem.
Should you question?
Go right ahead. That's why we're here.
So, my initial impression is, oh my gosh, there's a lot of existing things, like our chair just said, whether it was for whatever reason or not. But going through them, the existing stone and boulders encroaching 25 feet into natural feature setback. You're talking about the boulders that are going down next to the stair right there, correct?
No, those ones were actually originally permitted. We're talking about the ones over here coming off of this corner, because it makes it too, this picture is not very
That's fine.
telling, but that earth has a very steep pitch.
Would there have been any other option? Professional opinion, so that you wouldn't be in this position. Would there be another option?
Not in making the walkout functional. No,
Okay.
it would have not been able to be a walkout home.
I mean, I think the landscaping looks great with regard to those boulders and the stone. I mean, those are existing. On our list here, the next one is the proposed 22-foot by 14-foot by 11 high pergola with the kitchenette underneath. That's all within the variance, isn't that? Or the setback?
Yeah, that's within the setback. It's already.
Totally reasonable.
That's the permission request.
Exactly.
Yep.
The proposed 6-foot high fence. I mean, it looks as though there's some landscaping around that that's a little further out near the lot line.
Yes, sir.
That's another reasonable thing. An existing cut stone patio that's 3 feet into this 25-foot. So you mismeasured there.
Correct.
An existing composite board deck, that you changed your material, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the existing composite deck encroaching 3 feet into the required, what's that one?
So that's this decking down here.
That's the one that juts out into the water?
Yeah, it was an existing deck that was
They just
resurfaced.
they resurface it. Yeah.
So that was
Correct.
Okay, thanks for the clarification, I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so I guess I would agree in total. I mean, it's a good looking project, other than the mismeasurement. It seems like all things we live with, other than the fact that this word pattern is coming from, I'm giving you a warning, right? This is what the impression is. Yeah, that's all. And then,
Most
and
definitely.
then when you're in a cumulative situation there where, okay, maybe it just mismeasured and you had that might not have been a big of a deal, but now there's some history and we have a bunch more. So it's becoming a bigger weight, right? It's now the scale's kind of going, yes, no. So that's what I'm saying. So I kind of have the same thing, other than is there anything you can do with that? I guess it's a circular configuration. The 3 feet, to have you pull those out makes it look bad
Yeah.
Okay.
We would have to.
aesthetically. All right.
I'll just make one point. Part of the reason why there has to be 25 feet, or that's the ordinance, is to protect the lake. Because when you have more concrete, not grass, that's impervious, whatever's on there is going to fall into the lake. So you say, 3 feet, it's no big deal. But when it's 3 feet here and 3 feet on another property, that has a cumulative effect on the lake. These people live on the lake because they love it and they want it to maintain and be beautiful. But when you have fertilizer and all this other junk that goes in there because you're too close, that's why the ordinance is there in the first place.
Yeah. And the whole design intent of this home is to be like it's in nature. I mean, that was the whole feel. That's why we have over 300 native species of junipers. We could have chose multiple different species of junipers. We chose specifically native ones to give this a natural feel. And it's planted all the way to the water's edge. It's going to look beautiful. I can't wait to watch this property develop as we maintain it. But with this surface, the one note that I would just like to reiterate is it's not concrete. It's not something that's obtrusive to a natural setting. It is a natural product that you would walk over to the lake and find in the lake itself there naturally for thousands of years. So that's just the one point that I definitely want to make sure that we're all on the same page about.
I think your intent is clear there. Sorry to interrupt you. Your intent is there. And, as our chair said, it's much easier to enforce our ordinances and to approve variances when it's presented prior to the fact.
Most definitely. This specific one, I would have never planned on bringing up to you because I never planned on putting it in the wrong spot. This was just
Yep, okay. I think we got it. Any other?
If in doubt, give us a show.
Yeah.
yes, sir.
So is anyone prepared? I mean, I'll just say sent the message. I'm okay with everything that they're asking for. So for what that's worth. I know Stephanie's not, but can we get a motion? Much as
Not unless you want me to deny it.
well, we understand that. You've been consistent on these.
Yes.
You're super consistent.
I'm an environment lover.
You
so
are
we have
as
to protect
dependable
our
as the
lake.
sunrise on your position on the natural feature setback.
You look like you're gearing up.
Oh, no, I was thinking, but
I think you should.
Oh, wow, we're fighting over making a motion. This is great.
I was
Gotta
looking
keep
at
going.
Facebook.
Let's go. Get the motion out.
Okay, I'll go for it.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you,
so,
Counselor.
you're welcome. Thank you, Andrea. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start with the permission request first. In regards to the appeal at 1299 Porter's Lane, the permission request for the proposed pergola with kitchenette underneath. I move that the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with Section 42-7.6 standards because the use of accessory structure is appropriate to the neighborhood, as pergolas and kitchenettes are very much appropriate, particularly for a property as such as this one. In terms of the dimensional variance, I also, let me see here, I also would like to move that the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty, and this is dimensional variance for the proposed pergola and kitchenette underneath located in the side yard, as well as the fence exceeding 4 feet in height, composite deck encroaching into the side yard, and the existing patio, composite deck, and boulders encroaching into the natural feature setback. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome. Basically, because without this, it would prevent reasonable use of the property. There's no injustice for the adjoining neighbors, as there's lots of screening that is provided on this particular property. There was a lot of care in taking into making sure that they were using a lot of natural landscaping. Unique circumstances of the property, because this has lake frontage, there are some unique challenges with the property, and because of that, it is not self-created. And with that, if approved, the motion must include applications for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. This is for the pergola and fence. Application must be made within 5 days for the existing patio and deck encroaching into the natural feature setback, boulders and deck encroaching into the side yard setback. Additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the fence pergola from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the fence and pergola at the time of planting.
So I motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Should we take a roll call? I think we know who's opposed. Or
Sure. Ford,
Support?
Grande,
Support.
Barnett,
Support.
O'Donnell, Edelman,
Support.
Piquet,
No.
Henry.
Yes.
It passes 6-1.
Okay. Congratulations. Your request is granted.
Thank you, board. Have a great night.
Okay.
And note it.
Thank you. I'm sure it will be.
So I am here representing the clients at 835 Harsdale. We are seeking approval for a pool cabana with a kind of kitchenette TV wall located kind of within the 16-yard rear yard setback, and it does comply with the height ordinance. The current neighbor, kind of closest to the cabana, does have thick evergreen screening. And then as on our plan, we even added more just to ensure that from the road and from the public that it is not visible. We have also asked for permission on those 3-foot walls in the front yard. They will just kind of be linear, low walls, pull out the architecture of the house. But we want it to kind of add to the house and to the property and to the neighborhood. We have also spoken and gotten support from the HOA as well.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Screened, right? Everything is fully screened.
Yes. Yep. I think we added 9 trees, I think, behind it.
Any other questions? Open this to the public. Anyone like to comment? Close the public hearing. Bring back to the board.
Sure, I can make a motion.
Outstanding. Thank you.
In regard to the appeal at 835 Harsdale Road for the accessory structure and the landscape wall in the front, I move the request be approved and submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the location of the accessory structure will not hinder or discourage the adjacent use of property due to the fact that it meets the height requirement and it will be screened 12 months out of the year. If approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. Additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the cabana for public view and must meet or exceed the height of the cabana at the time of planting.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted. Calling item 7, 925 Dursley.
Good evening. We are requesting a shed in our backyard.
So your name and address?
Edwin Estevez, 925 Dursley Road.
Thank you.
We're requesting a shed in our backyard. The shed would be painted green. You have the dimensions there. It's a 10 by 12 shed, 9 foot high at the peak. It currently would sit, if you notice in the picture, the yellow block rectangle represents the shed. It already sits within a tree line that is a mixture of deciduous and evergreen. So we would plant in all of the spaces, and I don't see. Is there another slide that shows?
Yeah, right here.
Oh, yeah, there we go. So those are gaps where other neighbors would be able to see the shed. The green lines represent those gaps, and that's where we would plan to plant a variety of evergreen species. So arborvitae, their eastern pine, and some other spruce as well.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board? Open this up to the public for comment. Anyone like to speak? Close public comment. Bring it back for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
With regard to the appeal at 925 Dursley Road, I move that it be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all the standards for section 42-7.6. And the use of the accessory structure will not hinder or discourage the adjacent use of property due to the fact that it's within the setbacks and will be fully screened out of the year. You should get all permits within 1 year, and you should get the permits before constructing the shed. And as we noted, it will have to be screened 12 months out of the year, so you'll have to supplement with evergreens.
Sure.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Calling item 8, 6816 Oak Hills Drive.
Good evening. My name is Mike Parks. I'm the owner and live at 6816 Oak Hills Drive. Jeff Klatt is the architect, and he was here a couple of months ago representing us, and you were nice enough to grant a 5-foot variance, and then when we went to lay the furniture out and do some other things, it didn't fit. So we're back for an extra 2 feet to get to 7 foot. The original hardship was when we built the home, I was the general contractor, and we ran into an artesian well in the northeast corner of the property and had to shift the house back about 10 feet. Otherwise, it would be up closer to Oak Hills Drive, and we had to move it to get out of the way of artesian well that we had to encapsulate when we built the house, which was not a lot of fun. So it kind of moved it over. So we'd always planned to do an addition when the kids got out of school or got through college. The kids are now out of college, and we're trying to do an addition.
So you need more space with your kids out of the house.
Well, I would like to have my wife here to answer that question. We've had that discussion.
Well done,
Yeah.
Mr. Parks. Well done. Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, open this to the public. Anyone would like to speak on this? Close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
So with regard to the appeal at 6816 Oak Hills Drive for the setback of a total of 7 feet into the required 35-foot yard setback variance, I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the fact of the, I'm not going to say the unique shape of the lot, but the situation on the lot with the artesian well. And then there is no injustice to adjoining neighbors by reason of the fact that this is consistent with homes in the other homes in the area. And the orientation of the home on the lot doesn't seem to be too unusual. Unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated given the fact that I just referred to the artesian well, and we are accommodating that, and this is clearly not self-created. So if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Calling the next item, item 9, 6705 Indianwood Trail.
Hello, I'm Amanda Alanoff, homeowner, 6705 Indianwood Trail, and we are requesting a hot tub. It would be in our backyard, hidden and secluded from all of the neighbors. We have shrubs and trees all the way around our whole property.
So they can't see it in the winter either, right?
Correct. Well, we're going to plant some additional trees because we lost a shrub during the big winter thing, but otherwise, otherwise it's secluded. Correct. So you can see that's our back. That's the back part where you'll be basically sitting right there. I don't know how to describe that, but that way. Well, I do this a lot.
Lovely. Yeah, it looks great.
Thank you. We love it. We've been there 4 years.
Any other questions from the board? Open this up to the public. Anyone here like to comment on this item? Close the public hearing, bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll just make a motion.
I'll defer to my colleague.
Okay. In regard to the appeal at 6705 Indianwood Trail, for accessory structure, I move the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the location of the accessory structure will not hinder or discourage adjacent use of property due to the fact that it's in the rear of the home and it'll be fully screened so the neighbors can't see it 12 months out of the year. If approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits. They must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. Additional evergreen plantings will be required to screen the shed from public view 12 months out of the year and must meet or exceed the height of the shed of the accessory structure at time of planting.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
So can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting's concluded.